how to move forward after the Google leak that happened last week. How do we move forward after this bombshell of information? And I'm going to share some amazing ways to move forward with everything that we have learned. I'm recording this from a lovely luxury hotel lobby bar out here in Europe. You can see the bar right next to me. And I have some great lighting because there is floor to ceiling windows right in front of me, shining onto my face. I love where I am recording right now. This is great. All right, so something that we learned, surprise, surprise, backlinks matter. This is number one. This is a basic of SEO. Everyone knew that backlinks matter, even though Google said they don't really matter that much anymore. And we learned that they still do matter. Google has plenty of ways of measuring domain authority, which backlinks increase, and measuring backlinks themselves. So here are some quick ways to get backlinks. If you have a new site, you can use boostbenchmark.com. I'm an affiliate of that site. It is great for quickly getting your domain authority from 0 to 20. If you don't have a new site, you can use featured.com, which is journalists looking for experts to use in their articles. I find this to be a lot better than Help a Reporter. On Help a Reporter, my success rate was maybe 20%, maybe 30%, but on featured.com, it is literally over 75%. Over 75% success rate. If I respond to a journalist query on Featured, there is a 75% chance that they will use my response in their article. So featured.com is great. You can get backlinks pretty fast through that. You can do stunts. So here's something that we learned from the Google leak is that brand matters. I'm going to quote Rand Fishkin, who dropped the Google leak. Rand Fishkin is a legendary figure in the SEO space, and he is the one who shared the Google leak on his blog after it was shared to him, and he made it this big thing. And so Rand said, brand matters more than anything else. Google has numerous ways to identify entities, sort, rank, filter, and employ them. Entities include brands, brand names, their official websites, associated social accounts, etc. So brand matters. And doing stunts has two great benefits. It increases brand, but it also gets you backlinks. And the crazy thing about stunts is you can just make them up. You don't even have to do them. So there's this example, and I shared this yesterday. It's called Neon Money Club. Neon Money Club is a finance company, and they announced an app. It is Tinder, but you have to have a credit score of over 675 to use it. So it's Tinder for people with good credit scores. It's called Score by Neon Money Club. You can just Google it. And they show on their landing page how many backlinks they have and from all the top publications that they are getting backlinks from. And the thing is, all of the publications that report on them don't even try the app. No one cares if the app works or not. They just care about the announcement because it's so crazy. So you can make up crazy things in your niche and share them with journalists. And if they're crazy enough, then they go viral, they get you backlinks, and they elevate your brand, which, as I just said, Google cares about. All right, something else. So there were 14,014 ranking factors leaked from Google. So we can see all these ranking factors. We can see all these things that Google is looking at, that Google is measuring, but we don't know the associated weights with the ranking factors. So just because Google can measure these things, we don't know how important they are relative to each other. So how do we actually see how things move in the SERPs? SERP is an acronym for Search Engine Results Page. How do we actually see how things are moving in the SERPs? I'm going to recommend one of my favorite articles. This was originally written in 2016. I read it when it came out, and it has been updated yearly since. I shared this on a recent episode as well. It's so good, and I'm going to be sharing more from this article just because it's so good. So what is this legendary article that I keep talking about? It's called 21 SEO Experiments That Will Change the Way You Think About SEO Forever. It is from SEOsherpa.com. It's a very simple URL, SEOsherpa.com/SEO-experiments. This article shows how much click-through rate matters, how much click velocity matters, how much so much matters. And just because, again, we can see that Google has these ranking factors, this actually shows you how much these different ranking factors matter, because people do these crazy experiments with the search engine results pages, with keywords, with rankings, and the pages change faster than normal. And these studies are shared, and these studies are reflected in this article of 21 experiments. It's just a great read. If you are interested in the way that the search engine results pages work and move like how they actually move, this article is fantastic. 21 SEO experiments that will change the way you think about SEO forever from SEOsherpa.com. All right, another best practice is to not read the best practices from Google. This is something that I think after my first year doing SEO, I stopped doing this. It's important to know what Google says is not allowed because, and I will talk about this in a minute, because Google knows everything. So if you are doing something that is against the rules and you are not super savvy, there is a good chance that Google will find out eventually, and then you will get a penalization, which could be devastating. And that was literally revealed in this Google leak, but I'll share that in a moment. After my first year learning SEO, I got a sense for what Google cared about and what they didn't. And then I stopped reading the rules because at that point, you just accept, okay, Google's going to know a lot. What might they know? What might they not know? What will they care about? What's against the rules? And then you can kind of just think for yourself. And I totally recommend that. The whole reason that this Google leak was a big deal in the first place was because it showed that all these things that Google said they could not measure and that they didn't know, or all these things that they said didn't matter, actually mattered and that they could measure. And so that's why reading and all these SEOs who were paying attention to this, they were so frustrated because they felt like they were misled. And so they went on Twitter, they went on X, and that's why this leak spiraled into such a big deal, because it was all of these people who made it a best practice to pay attention to Google's best practices. And here I am telling you that after you know the basics, I think it's a best practice to think for yourself and to not pay attention to Google's announced best practices. Think for yourself, learn from others. And now onto my next point, don't really do anything black hat unless you understand how the system works. So this is the second to last point that I'm going to make here on how to move forward after the Google leak. But this leak really shows us that Google knows a lot more than they let on. I mean, I'm not surprised because I thought for myself, but lots of other people are surprised who did not think for themselves. So for example, did you know that Google uses information from Google Chrome and that is reflected in the search engine results pages? So again, this is from that article that I shared previously from Rand Fishkin. The article is called "An Anonymous Source Shared Thousands of Leaked Google Search API Documents with Me. Everyone in SEO should see them." And this is right at the top of the article. In their early years, Google's search team recognized a need for full clickstream data, every URL visited by a browser, for a large percent of web users to improve their search engine's result quality. A system called NavBoost initially gathered data from Google's toolbar PageRank and desire for more clickstream data served as the key motivation for creation of the Chrome browser. So Google Chrome was created to improve the results in Google search. There are also rumors that Google Analytics data is actually reflected in Google search as well. The point is, Google knows a lot. And so unless you're extremely savvy, my personal opinion is don't try to do anything that you know to be against Google's rules. Make long-term plays. The best shortcut is the long cut. Google also makes investments in popular user-generated content platforms that have a high share of voice in the search engine results pages. If you don't know how to actually get around these systems, and lots of people don't, I'm not going to say whether or not I know, because I'm not going to say that publicly, but if you don't really know, consider things like this. Okay, maybe you are posting on Reddit or Quora with the same IP address that you have linked to Google Search Console. But maybe you're using a VPN and you're changing your IP address. Well, that's cool. Maybe your Reddit account uses an email that is linked with that IP address. And maybe it's using a Gmail email that's linked with that IP address. Or maybe it's using Proton, but you're still using the same Chrome browser that you access Google Search Console from. Or you're still using the same Chrome browser that you're always checking on your results from, and you're the only one going to your website. So it is very plausible that because you are the one who is most looking at this site, you're doing it several times a day, especially when there are new updates being made, Google can connect an IP address to the website. There are all these different things, and you got to think like that if you're going to try to skirt these systems. And most people are not able to think like an algorithm spam detector designer, someone who actually makes spam systems in algorithms. Most people are not able to think with that level of paranoia or just knowledge of these systems in the first place. And so this Google leak shows that Google knows a lot more than they let on. And so it's probably not worth it if you are trying to create a long-term brand to do these shortcuts that you might not know how to do. Because like I said, for like so many times now, Google really knows a lot. And that's something that was shown in this Google leak. Okay, last one on how to move forward from the Google leak, we know that click-through rate matters a lot. Google looks at how many people are clicking on a result in their search pages and at what velocity people are clicking. So how do we get people to click more? Because we know that clicks are important. We want people to click on our pages above other pages. So this is something that I love to do that not a lot of people think about, but I optimize page titles for the way that they will appear in the search engine results page. I put the main keyword that I'm targeting, and I make bottom of funnel pages where I'm already targeting keywords that are not super competitive, but are in dire need from the searcher. If it's bottom of funnel, people have a problem. They are going to Google to find a solution to that problem. They are using a keyword that addresses that problem, and my page title has that keyword at the beginning of it. But then what I do is I will use a vertical line, a divider, and I will put something else saying, use this right now, for example, or try this now, or completely free. So I'll give an example. If you search asynchronous voice chat, a page that I made, I think in 2019 or 2020 comes up, and it's number 1. And it's for one of my companies called Reverb. So you search asynchronous voice chat. Who are searching asynchronous voice chat? Well, it's people who want to use a SaaS tool, a software as a service tool for asynchronous voice chat. And the page title is asynchronous voice chat, and then that vertical straight line, which is a divider, then use now, then another vertical straight line divider, and then the name of the brand, which is Reverb Record. So I put the keyword at the beginning, then I put that divider, and then I put use now so people know that they can just click on this result and use it immediately, which increases click-through rate because people don't want to have to read long landing pages. People don't want to have to go through long onboarding processes or walkthroughs. They just want to use something to know if it's for them. And so I write use now, and that increases click-through rate. So that's something else that I love to do. And I really think about page titles like that to increase my CTR. I think it's one of the reasons why I'm so good at SEO, one of the many reasons. It's also because I think like algorithm designers might think. I think like people who prevent spam might think. Not that I do anything bad, because I don't, but it's important still to understand these systems. All right, that is some quick ways to move forward after this Google algorithm leak, this tremendous Google algorithm leak that shook the digital marketing world. And this is episode 335 of my daily digital marketing podcast, my daily growth hacking, growth marketing, digital marketing podcast. I do this thing 7 days a week, every day. This is 335 days in a row now. I started this thing back in New York. That's where I'm from. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'll be there in a few weeks. And I've been living throughout Europe, on and off, back and forth. And this episode is being recorded, like I said, in a lovely hotel lobby bar out here in Europe. I really like it so much. So I'm going to end the podcast and go back to my Americano. And thank you so much for watching. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for listening. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.